Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, friends. Are you doing good today? I'm Yasmin, would like to tell you about asking for information in today's video. Alright, when communicating with other people, of course we have certain means or intentions. By communicating, we can find the information that we need. In English, we know some material about communication, which is a conversation between two or more people. This communication is specified again in asking for information. Of course, in everyday life, we often look for information to find out something. And in this video, I will discuss the sentence that states asking for information and other explanations. Without further ado, let's get into it. What is asking for information? Asking for information is an expression sentence to ask something. This expression is used to ask someone for information at a certain time. In the case of asking for information, of course we are in a state of need for information. Asking for information can be as simple as asking for the time or as complicated as asking for details about a complicated process. In both cases, it is important to use the appropriate form for the situation. For example, when asking for information from a friend, use a more informal or colloquial form. When asking a colleague, use a slightly more formal form. And when asking for information from a stranger, use an appropriately formal construction. The rules in asking for information. In writing or using asking for information, you must pay attention to the existing rules. The first rule is using interrogative sentences. In asking for information, we must use an interrogative sentence consisting of 5W plus 1H, such as why, where, when, what, who, and how. With this, the person you ask will understand what kind of information that you need. The second rule is using auxiliary capital. In addition to interrogative words, you can also use auxiliary words, such as could, can, would, will, should, shall, may, might, must, and had to. Use of formal and informal language in asking for information. Like conversations in English in general, when we are going to ask for information, we have to look at the situation at hand. Is it a formal or informal situation? Even though what is asked seems to be something that is not heavy. For example, asking for the time, place, or other things, you still have to pay attention to the situation when you are asking. The use of formal language. The formal structures. Use these forms for simple, everyday questions in stores or with colleagues at work. You can use the structure pardon me or excuse me plus can or could you tell me plus 5W plus 1H, like I mentioned earlier, plus subject, and plus verb. For example, you can say, "Can you tell me when the train arrives?" Or, "Pardon me, could you tell me how much the book costs?" The formal and more complicated questions one. You can use these forms when asking complicated questions that require a lot of information. This should also be used when asking questions of important people, such as your boss on a job interview, etc. You can use the structure, "I wonder if you could," plus "tell me or explain or provide information on." For example, "I wonder if you could explain how health insurance is handled at your company." Or, "I wonder if you could provide information on your pricing structure." You can also use the structure, "Would you mind?" plus verb plus A. For example, "Would you mind telling me a little bit more about benefits at this company?" Or, "Would you mind going over the savings plan again?" Next is the use of informal language. We are not always in a formal situation, right? Sometimes we are also faced with informal situations, but we still want to ask for information. And of course, asking for information in an informal situation is different from when asking in a formal situation. The informal structures. If you are asking a friend or family member for information, use a direct questions. You can use the structure 5W plus 1H plus helping verb plus subject plus verb. For example, you can say, "How much does it cost?" Or, "Where does she live?" Replying to a request for information. If you would like to provide information when asked for information, start your reply with one of the following phrases. If you know the information and you are in informal situation, you can use "sure," "no problem," or "let me see." And if you're in more formal situation, you can use "I'd be happy to answer that," or "I should be able to answer your question." You can also say, "It'd be a pleasure to help you." If you do not have the answer to a request for information, use one of these phrases to indicate that you are unable to answer the question. Saying no is never fun, but sometimes it is necessary. Instead, it is common to offer a suggestion as to where someone might find the information. If you are in informal situation, you can say, "Sorry, I can't help you out," or "Sorry, but I don't know that." You can also say, "That is beyond me, sorry." And if you're in more formal situation, you can say, "I'm afraid I don't have the answer to that question," or "I'd like to help you. Unfortunately, I don't have that information," or "I don't know that information." These are more example sentences of asking for information that you can use. Can or could you tell me? Can or could anyone tell me? Do you know about? Do you have any idea? Do you happen to know? I wonder if you could tell me. I wonder if someone could tell me. I was wondering. I'd like to know. Could you give me some ideas of? I'm interested in. And last but not least, I'm looking for. Alright, I think that's all about asking for information that I could tell you. That's it for today's video. Correct me if I'm wrong. Hopefully, what we have learned today can be useful for all of us. Thank you for watching. See you next time.